Vice President Kamala Harris has just made a shocking announcement.
You know, we have to stay woke. Like, everybody needs to be woke. And you can talk about if you're the wokest or woker, but just stay more woke than less woke. Yeah.
You know what woke means? It means you're a loser. Everything woke. Everything woke. It's true. Everything woke turns to shit, okay? It's true.
Kamala Harris has let us know some big news just now. Vice President Kamala Harris has made the shocking decision to drop several vice presidential picks. In fact, she's decided not to go with Pete Buttigieg. She's decided to go ahead and drop Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro. She has dropped Arizona Senator Mark Kelly. She has dropped Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker and Governor Andy Bashar of Kentucky.
Top of the hour, and the breaking news is big.
And as a woman, there's a balance to be struck between being tough and being a bitch. Turn that off.
In this unprecedented campaign, this season the likes of which we have never seen before, we have one more major development. Vice President Kamala Harris, the presumptive Democratic nominee now for President of the United States, has selected Minnesota Governor Tim Walz to be her running mate. A week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, maybe seen as a dark horse. Now he has emerged as the choice. Our MJ Lee, Jeff Zeleny, John King, Jamie Gangel, all reporting on this. MJ just saying maybe Walz, a vibes pick, seen as a Midwestern happy warrior. John King is here with us in New York, watching this unfold before our eyes. Let's just start, reset at the top of the hour, what Tim Walz means for this ticket now.
It means, number one, the Democrats have their ticket. They're about to go into their convention, and after Kamala Harris clinched the nomination with the most unorthodox nominating process of our lifetime, the President of the United States steps aside after winning the primaries. She wins a virtual voting among the delegates, and then she wants to make this decision. She wants all this cleaned up before they get to Chicago for the convention, so that can all be about prosecuting the case against Donald Trump and J.D. Vance and against the Republicans. So a very truncated process, a lot of pressure on the vice president. So as the voters out there get to judge, how she's handling this first big executive decision. So why Tim Walz? We're showing pictures of him right there in a jacket and a shirt with no tie on. Earlier we had pictures of him in a T-shirt. I do think the contrast here is going to be striking. This is a small town Midwesterner. This is a man who won a Republican House seat and held it. In very difficult years for Democrats, he held on to it. So he has that small town rural appeal, which is why did Donald Trump pick J.D. Vance? Sort of the same idea. Can you go into small communities and make the case? He's the chairman of the Democratic Governors Association. I can tell you his fellow Democratic governors love him, love him. They think he's smart. They think he builds consensus. They think he's really funny. And so they like being in his company. And that matters in a campaign. In terms of Harris being out, are you confident that do you have the loyalty and do you trust your partner out there in the campaign trail? Does that person at tense moments, and there will be a lot of tense moments in the next 90 days of this campaign, make you laugh and make you smile and maybe take some of the pressure off you? Can you do the small market television? Walz fits that bill. Now, we're going to see how he plays out. And again, I'll be a broken record on this. There is no data in the 37 years I've been doing this that says your vice presidential pick makes the difference in the end. However, it can hurt you. We could have a conversation about has Vance hurt Trump or at least stalled Trump's momentum a little bit there. And it can help you in the idea that, again, popular with governors, that helps you raise money. Popular with governors, that helps get more people on the team. Popular in small town America, create a little buzz for Democrats in places maybe where they're not always seen. And that is one of the Democratic Party's problems. In the years I've been doing this, Michael Dukakis was my first campaign, 1988. He won 10 states.
Massachusetts miracle.
Yeah, Iowa and West Virginia were states won by Michael Dukakis in 1988. Those who are blue-collar Democrats who worked with their hands on farms or in coal mines or in factories. The Democrats have lost those votes. Tim Walz knows how to win those votes. Again.
In fact, Vice President Kamala Harris has decided to select Minnesota Governor Tim Walz as her running mate for the upcoming November election against former President Donald Trump. Now, this announcement was made just minutes ago by Kamala Harris through an Instagram post and a text message to her supporters. In her message, Kamala Harris praised Tim Walz for his dedication to the middle-class families and highlighted his background, including his service to the National Guard and his experience working as a teacher, trying to make the guy seem even more relatable. We'll see about that. Now, Kamala Harris, she's been under fire lately for a lot of information that's been going on in her background, secret relationships and couch casting and the likes. All sorts of dirt has been coming out about Kamala Harris. So she needed someone to kind of help her image. Now, Kamala Harris expressed her admiration for Tim Walz's impressive background and emphasized how his experiences have shaped his political record. She also mentioned her deep respect for Tim Walz's commitment to his family, including his wife, Gwen, and their children, Gus and Hope. Now, Kamala Harris mentioned that she and her husband, Doug, they're looking forward to collaborating with Tim Walz and his family to build an administration that reflects their shared values. Now, I'll be honest with you guys, hopefully, Vice President Kamala Harris's VP pick won't even matter against former President Donald Trump in the 2024 presidential elections. In her messages, Kamala Harris conveyed her excitement about forming a strong partnership with Tim Walz. She emphasized that together they will create a great team and win this election. Me personally, I honestly think that Donald Trump and JD Vance are just going to go ahead and mop the floor with these two folks. But I figured I'd go ahead and let you guys know what is really going on, as this is breaking news. Tim Walz, who is 60 years old, was initially considered as an unexpected choice for the vice presidential slot. Early decisions and discussions about presidential or potential running mates focused on other high-profile figures. She was initially looking at Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, which I'm really shocked that she didn't pick him. Arizona Senator Mark Kelly. But Tim Walz gained a lot of attention recently, especially after a widely received cable news interview where he criticized some Republicans, calling them weird. Now, this line of attack was later adopted by national Democrats. This just shows how weak the Democratic strategy is. They're looking at Donald Trump and they're calling JD Vance and Donald Trump weird. Really? So you have Democratic strategists being paid hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars, to come up with an amazing strategy for Democrats to win over the votes of the American people. And the best that they can come up with is a campaign around the word weird. Someone needs to be fired. Now, the selection of Tim Walz came after a very fast-paced 2-week period that saw significant changes in the political landscape. We saw President Joe Biden had decided not to run for re-election. He dropped out of the presidential campaign. So Joe Biden has officially dropped out, leading, or by default, by de facto, leading Kamala Harris to consolidate her support within the Democratic Party and become the presumptive Democratic nominee. But during this period, Kamala Harris and her team quickly evaluated potential running mates, ultimately choosing Tim Walz. Now, Kamala Harris, her choice of Tim Walz, it kind of received some praise from both progressives and moderate Democrats. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC, she expressed a lot of support on her social media platform on X, essentially stating that Kamala Harris made an excellent decision and that together she and Walz will govern effectively and boldly for the American people. Of course, AOC is going to support her on this. They're on the same team. Representative Lloyd Doggett from Texas also commended Tim Walz, describing him as a solid and decent former colleague with a good sense of humor, and highlighting his background as a former teacher and veteran who represented a Minnesota district typically held by Republicans. What do y'all think about this? By the way, if you haven't already, do hit the like button, support the channel, get the message out here, folks. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. You guys are absolutely amazing.